Ladies and gentlemen, today we're diving into an interesting question: what happens when you stop texting and calling a woman? Whether intentional or unintentional, your silence speaks volumes, and her reaction will reveal a lot. Let's break it down into 3 key responses. When you stop texting and calling a woman, her reaction can reveal a lot about how she truly feels about you. If she's genuinely interested, she will notice your absence almost immediately. Human nature is wired in such a way that we naturally pay attention to what is consistent in our lives, and when that consistency is suddenly removed, it creates a sense of curiosity and even concern. At first, she might not react right away. Maybe she assumes you're just busy or that you'll eventually reach out again. However, as time passes and you remain silent, she will begin to question what's going on. A woman who truly likes you will not let too much time pass without hearing from you. She might start by checking her phone more often, wondering if she missed your message or if something happened. She could also replay past conversations in her mind, trying to figure out if she said something wrong or if your feelings toward her have changed. Eventually, her curiosity will turn into action. She might send a simple text to test the waters, something casual like, "Hey, how's your day going?" Or "Haven't heard from you in a while, everything okay?" This is her way of trying to gauge where you stand. If she's more direct, she may even ask why you've been quiet or if something is wrong. The fact that she reaches out, even if it's subtle, is a clear sign that she values your presence in her life. A woman who isn't interested wouldn't bother to check in or try to restart the conversation. Beyond just sending a message, she might also show her interest in other ways. She could start engaging more with your social media posts, liking your pictures, or replying to your stories, small hints that she's thinking about you and looking for a reason to reconnect. In some cases, she may even bring up an inside joke or a past conversation to see if you'll respond and continue the dynamic you once had. Her response to your silence is also influenced by the depth of her feelings. If she has developed an emotional connection with you, your absence will create a void. She may start to miss the way you made her feel, the good conversations you had, and the attention you used to give her. When a woman genuinely cares, she won't want to risk losing someone she sees as important in her life. This is why she will make an effort to keep the communication going. Another aspect of this reaction is how she interprets your silence. If she's confident in the connection you share, she might assume you're just taking space and won't panic. But if she has any insecurities or doubts, she may start to worry that she did something wrong. This could lead to her overanalyzing the situation, seeking reassurance, or even trying to subtly get your attention in creative ways. If she has strong feelings for you, your silence could even trigger an emotional response. She might go through different phases: curiosity, concern, frustration, and eventually, the realization that she has to do something about it. This is why some women, after a period of not hearing from you, might not just send a casual message but instead confront the situation directly. She might ask, "Did I do something?" Or "Are you upset with me?" Because she wants to understand what changed. However, her reaction will also depend on her personality. Some women are more reserved and might hesitate to reach out immediately, even if they miss you. They could wait for a longer period, hoping you'll text first. But even in these cases, if she truly values you, she will eventually make a move. She won't just let things fade into nothing without trying to reconnect in some way. One key sign that she's genuinely interested is the effort she puts into the conversation when she does reach out. If she sends a text that invites further discussion, asks questions, or brings up something meaningful, it shows she isn't just texting for the sake of it, she actually cares. On the other hand, if she sends something short and doesn't follow up, she might just be testing to see if you'll chase her again. Ultimately, when a woman is invested in you, she won't just disappear without a fight. She will notice the change in communication and take steps to keep the connection alive. Her willingness to reach out and maintain the relationship is proof that your presence in her life is something she values. If she makes the effort, it's because she doesn't want to lose what you have. And that alone is a strong indicator of genuine interest. When you stop texting and calling a woman who wasn't truly invested in you, her reaction, or lack thereof, will tell you everything you need to know. In some cases, the silence itself is the answer. If she never really saw you as a priority, then your absence won't make much of a difference to her. She may not even notice right away, or if she does, she won't feel the need to do anything about it. At first, you might expect her to reach out after some time, but the longer you wait, the more obvious it becomes that she simply isn't as interested as you might have thought. When a woman is emotionally invested, she naturally wants to keep the connection alive. But if she was only mildly interested or treating you as an option, she won't feel any urgency to check in. Your silence will not trigger any deep emotions in her, because there weren't any strong emotions to begin with. Instead of reaching out, she might carry on as if nothing happened. She may continue living her life, focusing on her own activities, and engaging with people she finds more exciting or meaningful. If she wasn't invested, you were likely just one of many casual conversations in her life, and your absence does not leave a noticeable void. In some cases, she might even feel relieved that she doesn't have to deal with the obligation of responding to your messages anymore. It's important to recognize that this doesn't necessarily mean she dislikes you. It simply means you weren't a priority. People naturally make time for what they truly care about. And if she doesn't seem bothered by your absence, it's because you weren't a significant part of her emotional world. This can be difficult to accept, especially if you felt a connection, but her lack of reaction is actually a gift. It reveals the truth, without any mixed signals or false hope. Some women may eventually send a message, but not for the reasons you'd hope. If she reaches out after a long period, it may not be because she misses you, but rather because she's curious or bored. She might send a simple "Hey" or "How have you been?" without any real effort to keep the conversation going. This is often a sign that she's just testing to see if you're still available as an option, not because she genuinely wants to reconnect. Another possible reaction is complete indifference. She may see that you've stopped texting and simply move on without a second thought. If she was never emotionally invested, she won't feel any sense of loss. She won't wonder where you went, she won't check up on you, and she won't make any effort to bring you back into her life. This can feel harsh, but it's actually a blessing in disguise. It frees you from chasing someone who was never truly interested and allows you to focus on people who genuinely value your presence. One mistake many men make in this situation is assuming that their silence will create attraction. While pulling away can sometimes make a woman more interested if she already had feelings for you, it won't work if she was never invested in the first place. If she didn't care when you were around, she won't suddenly start caring just because you disappeared. Distance can only magnify existing emotions, it won't create feelings where none existed. It's also important to consider how she viewed the relationship before you stopped texting. If she only responded out of politeness or kept the conversation going out of convenience, then she was never emotionally attached. In this case, when you stop reaching out, she won't feel like she's losing anything. She might even take your silence as a sign that you've moved on, and that will be perfectly fine with her. In some cases, a woman who wasn't invested may even see your silence as a relief. If she felt that you were pursuing her more than she might appreciate the fact that you've stopped initiating conversations. She won't feel the need to explain herself or give you a reason for her lack of effort. She will simply let the connection fade without any hesitation. The most important thing to remember in this situation is that actions speak louder than words. If a woman truly values you, she will make an effort. If she doesn't, she won't. It's that simple. You don't need to overanalyze her lack of response or create excuses for her. The truth is that if she wanted to talk to you, she would. If she wanted you in her life, she would make it happen. Accepting this reality can be difficult, especially if you had high hopes for the connection. But in the end, knowing where you stand allows you to move forward with confidence. Instead of wasting time on someone who isn't interested, you can redirect your energy toward people who truly appreciate you. Silence is a powerful tool. It reveals who genuinely cares and who was just passing time. When you stop texting and calling a woman after over-pursuing her, you might notice something interesting. Her level of interest in you could suddenly increase. This happens because human psychology is wired in a way that makes people value what they feel they are losing. When someone constantly pursues another person with too much effort, the natural reaction is often to take that attention for granted. However, when that attention is suddenly withdrawn, it creates a shift in perception, making the other person reconsider their feelings and priorities. If you are always the one initiating conversations, sending good morning texts, checking in throughout the day, and making plans while she simply responded without putting in equal effort, then she likely saw you as someone who would always be there. This level of consistency, while well-intentioned, can sometimes make a woman feel like there's no challenge, no excitement, and no sense of anticipation. In many cases, people naturally desire what feels slightly out of reach rather than what is always readily available. The moment you stop over-pursuing, she might begin to wonder why. At first, she may assume that you're just busy and that you'll eventually return to your usual pattern. But as more time passes without a text or call from you, she may start questioning what changed. She might look at her phone more often, expecting a message, or even go back and reread past conversations to analyze if something went wrong. This sudden absence of your attention could trigger curiosity, making her wonder why you're no longer reaching out like before. She may ask herself whether you're losing interest in her, whether you've found someone else, or if she misjudged your level of importance in her life. This shift in mindset can make her reassess how much she actually values your presence. If she truly liked you but had become comfortable with your constant pursuit, she might start feeling an urge to reach out. She could send a casual text like, "Hey, haven't heard from you in a while, everything okay?" Or something playful like, "You disappeared on me." These messages are usually meant to test the waters and see if you'll respond with the same eagerness as before. If she was mildly interested but not putting in effort, your silence could spark a new level of attraction because suddenly you don't seem as predictable or as available as she assumed. Another common reaction is that she might start engaging with you in indirect ways. She may begin liking your social media posts, commenting on something you share, or even posting things that she thinks might get your attention. These small actions are subtle ways of seeing if you will react and reinitiate contact. It's her way of feeling out the situation without directly admitting that she misses your attention. If you were overly available before, your sudden absence might create a sense of urgency in her mind. She may feel a slight panic at the idea of losing you, which can make her start thinking about what it would be like if you were no longer an option. This feeling can be a powerful motivator, making her take steps to ensure she doesn't lose you completely. However, her reaction will depend on how much attraction and emotional connection she already had toward you. If she had little to no interest, your silence won't make much of a difference. But if she was somewhat interested or simply became too comfortable with you always initiating, this change in behavior can make her see you in a new light. One psychological principle at play here is the scarcity effect, which suggests that people tend to place a higher value on things that are limited or not easily available. When you stop texting and calling, you create a sense of scarcity. You're no longer giving her unlimited access to your attention, which can make her feel like she needs to earn it rather than just expect it. This doesn't mean you should play games or intentionally ignore her just to manipulate her emotions. The real purpose of stepping back is to restore balance in the dynamic. If you were the only one putting in effort before, this gives her the chance to show whether she is actually interested in you or just responding out of convenience. It's also important to consider that if she does start showing more interest after you pull away, you should not immediately go back to over-pursuing. Instead, allow her to invest more into the interaction. Let her initiate conversations, make plans, and show that she values your time and attention. When both people contribute equally to a relationship or interaction, the connection becomes stronger and more meaningful. In the end, pulling back from over-pursuing isn't about playing hard to get, it's about valuing yourself and recognizing when you're putting in too much effort for someone who isn't reciprocating. A woman who genuinely cares will notice when you stop over-pursuing, and if she has real feelings for you, will make an effort to reconnect. The key is to ensure that once she does, you maintain a balance where both of you are investing equally in the connection.